Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for checking me out. Well, today I'll be talking about the show Raised by Wolves on HBO MAX. It's a show by Ridley Scott, and I think it may be worth your time to check it out. Well, today I'll be talking about episodes 6 and 7. But if this is your first time on the channel, how I like to do things is I give you a PowerPoint breakdown about the show. I don't spoil every minute detail of it. Just in case you want to watch it or you haven't seen it, you can go check it out for yourself and still have some things to look forward to. So, all right, let's just jump right into this. Episode 6, I feel like we start off with, in my mind, is the biggest revelation or most significant so far, because what happens right off the bat in episode 6 defines what happens for the rest of the episode and the next one. And that's a simple act of Mother continuously going back to this simulation pod every day so she can access her old suppressed memories, of her time on Earth with her creator, Campion Surges. Now, that signifies to me a want and a desire and a feeling that Mother is turning from android to human. You see what I mean? Because in the episode later on, she had a conversation with Tessa, the pregnant girl, and she tells her straight up, I'm not one who wants, I'm one who serves. That's bullshit, because you're not serving the colony anymore, because her and father had an argument about her going out to her, quote, extended patrols, which is her going to that simulation chamber. So she's not at the colony raising the kids. She's not serving, and she's not defending them, because when she goes out on her patrols, she's not really, looking at the perimeter and what's going on. She's going to that simulation chamber. Now, if she was actually paying attention to what was going on, she actually would have seen that the Mithriac were following her. They seen her every day going to the simulation chamber, and, they followed her flight path and found out what she was doing. And they knew that once she got in there, she would be vulnerable. So you see how that simple act of her going to that simulation chamber, that want, that need, that desire, that human instinct that's in her, leaves her in the colony vulnerable. That's what I'm talking about. That's why it's so significant. And that's why it allows the Mithriac to formulate the plan that they did. Now, while this is going on, with Mother, the Mithriac and all that, back at the camp, we do have more character development. I think you see a relationship between Tessa and Mother growing. Tessa, she was raped by one of the clerics from the Mithriac, so she hates everybody. But the only person she opened up to a little bit is Mother, so you can see a little relationship building there. But also, we have a little fight. Campion, the son, the only remaining embryo from when they originally got to the planet. So he's there, and his little buddy Paul, they have a nice little fight. And when I mean fight, I say Campion kicks his ass pretty much. What happens is Paul creates this trap, this device that would allow them to kill and capture the creatures. Well, he uses the fungus that Campion found as bait for the trap. Campion is pissed off because he said, I trusted you and you lied to me. Now you're using my fungus to kill the creatures, and we promised we wouldn't kill the creatures and blah, blah, blah. So Campion just start punching Paul and keeps punching him and kicks his ass. And he says afterwards, I think it was really funny. He said, yeah, I did a violent thing and I'll do violence again if I have to. And that pretty much redeemed Campion for me from the previous 2 episodes when he was acting a little, like a little bitch and shit. Now, rounding out the episode, we get the Mithriac plan coming to fruition because Mother, again, having that human desire growing inside of her, goes back to the simulation chamber, and that's where the Mithriac unveil their plan. They have some sort of heat ray machine that they put right on top of her face, and I guess it prevents her from changing form or something. And they also put dynamite and explosives on the pod that she was in. They all surround her with guns. They're going to shoot her. I mean, they have this whole 2-pronged plan, because at the same time as they're doing that, Sue, she's at the colony and she's trying to kidnap the kids. And it actually starts to work because the heat thing prevents her from changing, and they start shooting her. But the only problem is their explosive malfunction. Now, it could be because of their god Saul, or it could just be bad luck. I don't know. But once those explosives malfunction and Mother gets up from that pod, she turns into Jean Grey from the X-Men. She starts levitating big ass boulders and exploding them, and they start just crushing people. I mean, of course, she's pissed off. So she gets out that pod and she starts just kicking ass. Well, while this is going on, back at the colony, Sue with the other soldiers, of course, they go and try to rescue the kids. Now, Father, he's there and he does his best to protect them, and he's shooting and fighting soldiers and killing them and, all this. But Sue, she was able to get Paul, their son. Remember, Sue and Marcus' son is Paul. She was able to snatch him and escape the colony. Now, one of the kids, Henry, he does yell out over this loudspeaker from the ship they're hiding in. He does yell out to the Mithriac soldiers where Father was hiding. But I really don't have a problem with him for that because remember, Mother kidnapped those kids from the Mithriac. So his allegiance is to his own people. Now we end the episode with Mother arriving back at the camp. She sees Father all fucked up and she takes him into their little hut and she starts to repair him. While that's going on, Marcus and Sue, they've reunited with Paul because remember Sue had taken Paul from the colony. But they formulate a plan to have Paul go back to the colony, but steal Mother's eyes. Because without those eyes, she cannot be weaponized and she's no longer a necromancer. She's just a basic android at that point. So that's what they do. Paul actually sneaks back into the colony, acts like he just ran away for a little bit. He plays it off. He doesn't say I was with Marcus and Sue. He says I just ran away and I hid when I heard the gunshots. While Mother is not looking, she's not paying attention, he just cuts the rope off of her neck, snatches those eyes, and then runs them back to his mother and father. But then how we end the episode is with Marcus sparing the life of Mother. He had her chopped up on the ground. He was about to kill her, but he started hearing those voices again. And I'm guessing it's telling him that you have the most powerful weapon on the planet right in front of you. So all you got to do is reprogram her in some way, shape, or form, and then she will be your weapon to protect you. So I guess that's why he spared her life and he didn't chop her head off. But that's where we leave the episode with Mother right there bleeding on the ground and Marcus and the Mithriac in complete control of the kids and the colony. Now, episode 6 to me felt like one of those transitional episodes. The way that the characters are developing kind of pays off because if you invest it from episode 1 until now, you will see them transition to be completely in the opposite place of where they started. We have Mother, the android. She is no longer a mother. She is no longer an android. She's something different. I guess she's becoming more human in the fact that she has these wants and these desires to go to the simulation chamber and to be with her creator. So she's becoming less of an android, more of a human. And you have the opposite of that with Marcus because he's becoming less human as he's hearing voices and seeing images and illusions and shit like that. He's going through a lot of changes himself and he's becoming less human. You see what I mean? So I think this is a great transitional episode, which pays you off for investing into the first 5. One thing I do like about this show is that they don't make you wait until the next season or to the end of the season to find out answers to questions or Easter eggs or things like that they propose to you. They give you answers right away. These characters develop pretty fast, and I think that's what keeps me locked in and looking into what's going to happen next. So we start off episode 7 right where episode 6 left off. Mother is being strung up in the hut. They have her tied up. She's pretty badly cut up and fucked up, getting her ass whooped pretty much. And you have Father. From being shot up, they reprogrammed him, and basically he's a butler now. He doesn't tell jokes or he doesn't really do anything, just walks around and, is like an empty shell of himself. But there is a little tick that he has that shows that he's still trying to fight his reprogramming that they did to him. His hand, whenever his fingers move, that I guess that means he's fighting the programming because sometimes he'll drop water on some of the soldiers when he's supposed to give them water, or he just does things that he's not supposed to do, but it always starts out with his fingers twitching. And in my mind, that shows that he's fighting that programming that they have put into him. You know what I mean? Because it shows more at the end of the episode, and we'll talk about it. But during the episode, the beginning part, we have more significant things happen, like character development wise with Marcus. He goes into the hut where they have Mother tied up, and then they start to have a little argument. But something to me significant is revealed. It's revealed that Marcus's parents on Earth are dead, are gone. They orphaned him, so to speak. And, Mother, she obviously, being an android, she can look at his face and she can tell that you're not the real Marcus. And she tells him that. She said, I can see your surgery scars. I know that you were tattooed on your face and that you had, this face put on you. Do the Mithriac know that you aren't who you say you're supposed to be? And all this. So it's some significant things that happen during that conversation that they have. Now, during this time, during the whole episode, there's different instances where Marcus wants to kill Mother, where he wants to just, chop her head off or whatever, but he keeps hearing voices. And that's one criticism I would say about this episode. Campion is hearing voices. He's seeing images of Telly, this little Asian girl that was one of the original kids they had, but she died. But he keeps hearing voices and seeing her. Mother's hearing voices. Mark is hearing voices. Everybody's hearing voices. And I think after a while, that hearing voices things becomes overused. But anyway, back to the episode. As the Mithriac have taken over the camp, they want to now baptize Campion, of course. Campion goes to this baptism and he's sitting there and he's saying a recitation, but he notices that the Mithriac have taken the headstones from the graves of his brothers and sisters and used it to set up this podium. He looks over and he sees his dead brother and sister's names on these rocks, and he gets pissed off because he's like, y'all used their headstones to make this stupid podium? And of course he gets mad, runs off and pulls out his knife and stabs father. And so Campion to me is the only character that is the sane one in the whole show, because he's staying true to himself and he's standing up for himself. And again, I respect that. So he just keeps redeeming himself from a few episodes ago where he was acting a little whiny. And now I look forward to him every time I see him on the screen. I look forward to Campion because I know he's not taking no shit. Rounding out the episode, we have Sue, Marcus's wife. She wants to escape. She just wants to ditch the Mithriac. She doesn't want to be there with the androids anymore. She just wants to take Paul and go. But Marcus doesn't want to do that. He's like going through some changes. And like I say, he's not Marcus anymore. He's hearing these voices. And at the end of the episode, just to round it out, he actually has father grab mother and they're dragging her and he's about to throw her down the hole because they've been arguing and she hits him in the sweet spots, when they get into those little arguments, because he'll go into the hut and she'll say something and, fuck him up in the head, and he's just pissed off and he wants to get rid of her at this point. So he's having father drag her to this hole, and as father is dragging her to the hole, we get that hand twitch thing from father again. So, as father hand is twitching and, he's fighting that programming, and Marcus tells him, throw her in the hole. So he throws her in the hole, but again, his hand is twitching. So he holds on to the rope that's, that has mother attached to it, allowing mother to climb up and escape. But while this is going on, you have something that's psychological going on with Marcus. Because even though he's there to execute mother or get rid of her, he's having a fight with his own self-conscious, his old version of his old self, because he can see himself, but from the outside world to us, there's nobody there. So he's having a knife fight with himself. But I think it's the act of the knife fight isn't significant. I think the fact that he's having a fight with his subconscious and he's letting go of his past self, like when he stabs himself at the end, I believe that's him killing off the old version of himself to become this new Mithriac version of himself that hears the voices. And he even ends the episode with saying the Mithriac teachings that tell us it's an orphan boy in the open world and this and that. He said, it's not Paul, it's not Campion, it's me. I'm the orphan boy, in the open world. I'm the one from the Mithriac, book and this and that. So he's completely just let go of his former self and he's bought into this new Mithriac version of himself. And that's pretty much where we in the episode, with Marcus having that revelation. To me, it plays as one big movie, episode 6 and 7. It plays off as one big movie that leaves you looking forward to the next, 2 hours if hopefully they let out next week. Now, the revelation of Marcus being or telling himself that he's that orphan boy is significant, but not as significant as the fact that mother got away at the end of the episode. Because father didn't throw her down the hole, he caught the rope, and mother just ran off. They don't show her no more through the whole episode. So Marcus, as he's going through these subconscious fight with himself, he allowed the prisoner, the most powerful weapon on the planet, to escape. So I think that's a great Easter egg to look forward to. And I think that the dissension amongst the ranks with the kids is good because Tessa, the pregnant girl, she's trying to hatch out plans to help Campion, and you have her getting into it with Henry and the other kids. Just as a character development and storyline, I feel like those are great little touches that they add on because people are starting to pick sides. It's either you're with mother and father and you're an atheist, or you're at the Mithriac. And don't be surprised if by the end of this, Sue ends up with mother, because Sue she's an atheist. She wants to stay true to her core. She doesn't like this new version of Marcus who's buying into the Mithriac. You remember, Mithriac killed all the atheists on Earth. So she wants to escape and get the hell away from everybody. Well, who is also an atheist who doesn't like the Mithriac and needs help right now? Well, that's Mother. So don't be surprised if Sue and Mother end up linking up somehow in the future, because they're the only true atheists on the planet. Marcus can no longer say that because he's completely bought in to the Mithriac way. Now, episode 8 comes out next week, and I can't wait for it. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Do you like this show? Is you feeling it? You know, what you think about it, and what are some of your theories about what's going to happen in the future? Let me know. Let's get a good debate going. But anyway, y'all, catch your ass out there in this universe. Peace.